Today we're taking a look at the ProLogic L02 in a multi-lock setup where we're using a junction box. We've set up this lock as lock number 1 and this lock as lock number 2. Now, in order to open the lock, you enter a code and specify which lock you want to open. It'll then send the command to the junction box and through to the appropriate lock to open. So if I select lock 1, it sends it to the junction box and then lock 1 opens. If I select lock 2 opens. But in some instances, you want both of those locks to open in sequence. In some cases where you have an interior compartment, you'll want to be able to set it up so that this one opens automatically, the lock on the outer door, and then the lock on the inner door opens thereafter. How that would work is I would enter my code, I would specify lock number 2, and it automatically open lock number 1, and then a few seconds later it would open lock number 2. So that's called enable sequencing. But we added something additional to this lock in that we wanted to be able to enable sequencing and then reduce the amount of time between these two locks opening so that they almost open simultaneously. This would be an application where you want two locks to lock the door. It might be a tall door, for instance, and you have a locking point at the top and a locking point at the bottom of the door, and you want to be able to open both locks virtually at the same time. So we've added a feature called sequence time set, and it specifies the delay time between opening this lock and this lock. So I'll show you how to do that. So we've already set this ProLogic L02 up to be able to open both of these locks, lock number 1 and lock number 2, using the set number of locks feature. Now what we want to do is enable sequence. So here's how you do that. Enter the system menu. Press menu, scroll down to system menu and press OK. Now enter your supercode, 111111 is default. And then scroll up until you see enable sequence. There's set number of locks, so we've already set that to 2. Now we're going to go to enable sequence. There we are there. Now, enable sequence specifies that if I select lock number 2, lock number 1 will open first. So let me show you now that we've set enable sequence how that works. If I enter a code, it's going to ask me to select the lock. I'm going to say lock number 2. Lock number 1 will first open, and then while it's open, lock number 2 will open. So imagine this is the outer door on a safe and that's the inner door. So that's how enable sequence works. You'll see that lock number 2 cycles periodically, remaining open. So you hear the motor run. That's in order to ensure that the person has enough time to get to the second compartment to open it. It opens for about 15 seconds and then finally closes. But imagine you wanted to use these in a situation where you wanted both locks to work simultaneously. So when I select lock 2, lock 1 and 2 open almost simultaneously. So here's how that works. Press the menu button, scroll down to system menu and press OK. Now enter your combination or code 111111. Now scroll up until you see a function called sequence time set. And there it is, sequence time set. Press OK. It's currently set for 2 seconds. That's that delay in between. We're going to change that to 0 seconds and press OK. Now what that means is these will open as close as possible to the same time. Now we'll press the back button, and now when we enter our code, 111111, it'll ask me to select the lock. I'm going to select lock number 2 and watch what happens in this case. Lock number 1 opens and then immediately followed by lock number 2, and they both remain open for this period of time. It's about 5 seconds. Lock number 2 continues to cycle because it's still in that mode where it's allowing lock number 2 to be open for an extended period of time. But in a case where you want both locks to open at the same time, you can do this sequence time set it to 0, and they'll open virtually at the same time. It's about a second apart. So let's show you that one more time. 111111. I'm going to specify lock number 2. You'll see lock 1 auto opens, lock 2 followed, and when it says lock 2 open 15 seconds is when you want to turn the handle and open the safe. So that's a function that we call sequence time set. Once the lock cycle is open for the 15-second period, it'll shut and both locks are now in their locked position.